I've wanted to make this video for a very long time, and I thought there's no better time to do it than May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. There are many resources on depression and anxiety that are more in-depth than this one, but I am making this video simply because I can. So I want this video to be a reminder to myself and to anyone who needs it that no feeling is forever, and there's both sadness and comfort in that, and it just depends on how you look at it. My depression definitely began in high school, and in my most formative years, I never felt cared about, I never felt protected. The relationships I had with people that I loved were terrifying. My home life was not the best, and I did very poorly in school because of it. I kept thinking, what else can happen? What bad thing will happen next? I always felt like I was being intentionally excluded, and because of this, I acted irrationally, and most of it wasn't even personal, but because of this anxiety, I acted not myself. No one in my life truly knew me to see that I needed help. Those years were when I decided I didn't want to be alive anymore. I tried to commit suicide in the months that followed, and the 2 times that I've tried to do it, one time almost did it for me. It was around 9 or 10 in the evening, and the only light that was on was the television. And I had taken some pills and some wine, and I remember feeling extremely tired after that. As I slowly fell asleep, I don't remember feeling anything at all in that moment. I wasn't happy or sad. I just felt like a passing thought in a body. But hours later, I woke up with a headache. After that, I didn't try again because I felt too tired to try again. I don't really remember what happened much after that. I just kind of existed, but not really. I don't even know how I graduated my 4th year of high school. I don't know how I managed to do that. It was also during this time when the people around me were starting to be good to me. They had healed from their own traumas, and I had not yet gotten to that point. I was very young when I experienced depression, and I didn't know how to deal with it very well. So I was such an insufferable person to them, simply because I wasn't able to let go of the resentment that I felt towards them in the years that they had caused me pain. Before the pandemic hit, I withdrew from school during the first semester of my 2nd year of college. I remember the withdrawal process just being the most taxing thing. People asking me, why are you withdrawing? Like, what's the matter? That was already so heavy. I didn't want to be that weak person who couldn't handle her course. I found it really embarrassing to say, I cannot do this. And having to tell that to strangers was just so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. So when people would ask me, why are you withdrawing? I didn't know what to say. Was I supposed to say, I'm depressed? I didn't even know if that's what I was at the time. Because honestly, I never felt like it was depression. I always just felt like I wasn't fit to be alive. Like I was a very just detached person from life, and I was very emotional and sensitive, that life's hardships were just too much for me. But I remember one instance where I was at the office of somebody. It was in the education department, and I had asked her to sign something for me, and she looked at the letter which I had written, the reason for my withdrawal. She looked at me and she said, I've been there as well, and you will get through it. Just take some time. And for a split second there, I felt very hopeful. So I'm forever grateful to her. She probably did not even realize had made such a massive impact on my life. After leaving school, I went to therapy. I think the greatest feeling in therapy is when you're able to talk to someone without your emotions being invalidated. For the longest time, I'd been surrounded by people who did not really believe in depression. So as I was telling my therapist all of these things that had happened to me, she was telling me, oh, I understand why you reacted that way. I understand why you feel this way. You have every reason to be angry, upset, sad about the situation. And hearing somebody say that to you is just the most freeing feeling. The healing was very awkward and a lot of pressure, because now that I was in therapy, there should have been significant changes in the way that I lived, especially because that I was out of school and I was in therapy. I was really focusing on my mental health. But that was not the case. The time that I used out of school was spent just sleeping and eating and being on my phone and really doing nothing productive. It was more like I took some time to rest more than developing habits, or healthy habits rather. We are constantly made to feel empowered, and that any hurdle that we face or any challenge that we might face, we can handle. Sometimes we can't. It is okay to say that I have gotten to my limit, and it is even better to admit that you have had enough before you have gotten to your limit. I think we should not let ourselves reach our limit to decide that we are done with something. It's better to stop before it gets bad. I don't want to have to bear it all, and I don't need to bear it all to justify that I was depressed. Because depression is not about how much you have gone through in life. It's not a competition about who has suffered more in life. Sometimes we don't go through anything at all. Sometimes it's nothing is happening to you, and yet you feel an unexplainable sadness, and that is not your fault. The biggest contributor to my healing was definitely fixing my relationship with the people around me and being able to acknowledge that pain and learn how to manage that pain. It's really the relationships that I cherish the most in my life. Be surrounded by people that love you. Make lists. Write down your thoughts. Even if you don't think you're a good writer, write it down. And yeah, take some walks, listen to music, get some sun. Just experience life's little pleasures in big ways. I wish that I could tell you the secret to getting rid of those feelings forever. But I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what it is. But I can tell you the first step to getting better, and that is to admit that you are feeling the way that you do. I want you to know that it'll be okay. It's always what everybody says, but it's gonna be okay. You are gonna be okay, and you are gonna do some fun stuff in your life. You're gonna make some fun ass memories. Sometimes living is just about enjoying what's in front of you. Sometimes life is just about living. Before I end this video, I want to remind you guys of one thing. If you have the opportunity to be kind, be kind. Thank you guys for watching. I love you all very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.